There are three common services or common things that Medicare does not cover that can easily wipe out your retirement savings. So in this video, let's talk about what those are and what can you do about it to avoid, again, having a big financial cost when it comes to your healthcare in the future. I'm Emily with the Medicare Coach, an independent Medicare consultant, helping our clients easily navigate both the Medicare rules from the government, but also the insurance company options to help you do what's right and best for you. So you have great health insurance while also protecting your retirement savings. And I'm going to share some extra bonuses down below to make your life easier and some shortcuts to Medicare. So let's jump into this. There are some common things that can easily wipe out your retirement savings. So I want to talk about what these are and what can you do about it. The number one thing is long-term care. Medicare does not cover long-term care. Medicare will cover some short-term medically necessary care, but when it comes to long-term care, being bathed, being fed, all those daily activities, Medicare does not cover that. The thing with long-term care as well is that it can get really expensive. And so people oftentimes just assume that Medicare will cover long-term care, and it doesn't. So let's get really clear on what can you do about that, right? So there are additional long-term care policies out there that you could purchase. I don't necessarily recommend that, but I rather recommend that you talk to your financial advisor about what makes the most sense for you financially. Now, people who do need long-term care but don't have a long-term care plan, and again, they can't afford it, Medicaid, which is the low-income aspect of healthcare, Medicaid would cover long-term care. So there are some situations where people will spend down all of their savings, and then they'll qualify for a Medicaid long-term care facility. This is not an ideal place to be honest, but it does happen sometimes. But again, if we're going to have to use all of your savings to qualify for Medicaid, again, Medicaid and Medicare are different, but that could impact your other loved ones who are relying on your income as well, or on your savings. So just be aware of that. But the key takeaway is Medicare does not cover long-term care, so at least be proactive if you were to need that in the future. The second thing that Medicare does not cover is non-FDA approved services. So while the FDA does cover many things and Medicare covers medically necessary care, there are some times where we will see people who want to get a treatment that the FDA just doesn't cover. It's been a couple years ago now, but we had a good family friend who had a very aggressive cancer, and he went to a facility for cancer treatment called Euromed. And at the time they did this kind of new treatment for cancer, where they manage your blood sugar as an individual, and when they gave you the chemo, they injected it with the sugar because I guess cancer eats sugar. My point is Medicare did not cover that because the FDA had not officially covered that as well. So I just want you to be aware that not all services Medicare covered. It needs to be FDA approved. We've also seen times where certain medications might be approved for certain causes, certain symptoms, but not for others. And so like Ozempic, right? Ozempic might be covered for diabetes, but not for other health issues. And so there are some rules in there that can create extra costs if you're using a treatment or a medication that's not for the FDA approved reason. So just be aware of that. We can usually avoid that by having conversations in advance and understand what treatment do you want and really how does it fit in with your overall Medicare. The third thing that can easily ruin people's savings is not knowing if the provider that you want to see takes your Medicare plan. We have seen people who go to a provider for, say, back surgery, hip replacements, therapy, whatever it is, and they assume that the provider takes their Medicare plan, and it actually doesn't. I've seen a woman with a $65,000 medical bill because her provider did not take Medicare, the Medicare that she had. And so it's really important to understand as well, understand what Medicare plan does your provider accept. That's a really important detail of our total process here at the Medicare Coach. That's step number 2. But we want to understand what your current doctors take as well as future doctors take. Again, Medicare rules in most states don't allow you to change everything every single year. Some do have pre-existing health conditions. So we want to be thoughtful when we first join Medicare, and also be aware of what do your providers accept so that you can avoid those big financial cost in the future. Again, Medicare can be great when you do what's right for you between both the rules and the government and the insurance company options, but it's about you to be your advocate to make those right decisions. Again, I'm Emily with the Medicare Coach, helping you easily make your right Medicare decision. Again, Medicare can be fabulous, but do what's ultimately right and best for you. Here's to helping you easily make your right Medicare decision.